Theresa May's Brexit deal being voted through Parliament would be a political miracle of historic proportions, claimed Laura Kuenssberg. The BBC's political editor argued the Prime Minister is presenting the same fundamental package to MPs but tied up with lots of extra ribbons. Speaking on Tuesday morning, Ms. Kuenssberg told BBC's Today programme it would be quite something, perhaps a political miracle of historic proportions, for the Prime Minister to be able to turn around what was a defeat in January of 230 votes that broke all the records. And essentially she will be presenting to MPs today the same fundamental package but tied up with a lot of extra ribbons. What she got in Strasbourg yesterday does change something, but it doesn't change everything, so I think it's in a balance. The legal arguments will rage all day, and it will frankly depend which lawyer you ask as to how much is different about this package, but ultimately, and I cannot say this enough, it is a political judgment for every single MP who voted against it last time, many of whom hate the deal, but can they hold their noses because the risk of not backing it is too great? Brexit news. The deal going through Parliament would be a image. BBC. She will be presenting to MPs today the same fundamental package but tied up with a lot of extra ribbon. Laura Kuenssberg. The comments came ahead of Attorney General Geoffrey Cox seeking to defend Mrs May's Brexit deal, just hours after he admitted the legal risk on the Irish backstop remains unchanged. Mr. Cox said the Prime Minister's revised divorce deal with the EU had not given Britain legal means of exiting the so-called backstop arrangement unilaterally if intractable differences arose just hours before MPs' vote in the House of Commons. But the Attorney General said the legal risk remains unchanged, and the fundamental circumstances remain the same. He wrote, however, the legal risk remains unchanged, that if through no such demonstrable failure of either party, but simply because of intractable differences, that situation does arise, the United Kingdom would have, at least while the fundamental circumstances remain the same, no internationally lawful means of exiting the protocol's arrangements, save by agreement. Speaking to MPs this afternoon, the Attorney General insisted the EU would not trap the UK in the backstop indefinitely. He said he believes the joint instrument contains materially new provisions and described the changes as reinforcement of binding legal rights, but he said matters of law can only inform what is essentially a political decision, telling MPs they must make political judgment. Making a statement to the Commons on his Brexit legal advice, he said, "They are not about a situation where, despite the parties properly fulfilling the duties of good faith and best endeavours, they cannot reach an agreement on a future relationship. Such an event, in my opinion, is highly unlikely to occur, and it is both in the interests of the UK and the EU to agree a future relationship as quickly as possible. Were such a situation to occur, however, let me make it clear, the legal risk, as I set it out in my letter of November 13, remains unchanged. The question for the House is whether, in the light of these improvements, as a political judgment, the House should now enter into those arrangements." Tory Eurosceptic and high-profile ERG member Steve Baker said the political declaration makes it clear that we would build and improve on the single customs territory provided for in the withdrawal agreement. The former Brexit minister said the EU will mean that to be keeping the UK in its customs union, asking, "Isn't it the case that if we negotiate under this agreement we will either find ourselves trapped indefinitely in the backstop because they are acting in good faith, or we will have to agree a customs union, contrary to our manifesto?" But Mr. Cox said, "I really don't believe so," before saying he does not accept the backstop as the basis for any future arrangement, again pointing to the separate negotiating track to work to find alternative arrangements, saying it would be extraordinary if the EU declined to accept any such measures. Brexiteer Tory MP Andrea Jenkins tweeted a picture of Geoffrey Cox's legal advice document and wrote, "The Attorney General's advice is that the legal risk remains unchanged, nothing has really changed, and it is still a bad deal, so unable to vote for this."